Hey, joyful seniors, let me ask you something. Have you noticed your legs aren't quite as spry as they used to be? Maybe it's a little wobble when you stand up, or that staircase feels like Mount Everest some days. Well, here's the truth bomb. Your legs are the first to fade as we age, and it's a warning sign we can't ignore. But don't worry, because today I've got your back, or rather your legs, with 3 simple, delicious foods that'll keep them strong, healthy, and ready to carry you through life's adventures. Hi, I'm Brian from The Joyful Senior, and I'm here to help you live your golden years with energy and independence. Let's face it, nothing zaps our joy faster than feeling unsteady on our feet. Weak legs can steal our freedom, whether it's strolling through the park with grandkids or dancing at a family wedding. Science backs this up. As we age, muscle mass drops, bones get brittle, and poor nutrition makes it worse. But here's the good news. You don't need fancy gym memberships or magic pills. The secret's already in your kitchen, and it's tastier than you think. In this video, I'm spilling the beans, or rather, the greens and fish, on 3 powerhouse foods that'll have your legs thanking you. We're talking leafy greens packed with calcium and vitamin D, and fatty fish loaded with strength-building goodness. Plus, I've got a heartwarming story about a fellow senior who turned things around with these foods. And trust me, you'll want to hear it. So, grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's get those legs ready to strut their stuff again. Ready? Let's dive in. Imagine this, joyful seniors. You're sitting in your cozy living room. The grandkids are running circles around you, and you decide it's time to join the fun. You push off the couch, ready to chase them down. And then it happens. Your legs wobble like a newborn foal, and you plop right back down. Maybe you laugh it off, but deep down, it stings. That's the warning sign we're talking about today. Your legs are the first to fade as we age, and it's a wake-up call we can't ignore. But don't despair, because I've got a secret weapon, or rather 3 of them, hiding in your kitchen that'll keep you steady and strong. Let's get real for a second. Aging isn't just about wrinkles or gray hair. It's about what's happening inside. After 60, our bodies start playing a sneaky game called sarcopenia. That's the fancy word for muscle loss. And it's brutal, stealing up to 5% of our strength every decade. Pair that with bones that get brittle from years of wear and tear, and maybe a diet that's been more comfort food than fuel, and you've got a perfect storm. I saw it with my Uncle Joe. He was a marathon runner in his 50s, but by 70, he was huffing just to get the mail. It broke my heart, and it lit a fire under me to figure this out for all of us. Here's the deal. Weak legs don't just slow you down, they rob you of the life you love. Think about it. Those morning walks with your spouse, the spontaneous dance at your niece's wedding, or even just hauling groceries in from the car. When your legs give out, those moments slip away. Falls become a real risk too. Over 3 million seniors end up in the ER every year from tumbles, according to the CDC. Scary, right? But here's where the clouds part and the sun shines through. You don't need a personal trainer or some expensive supplement to turn this around. The answer's in your fridge, and it's tastier than you'd ever guess. So, what's the plan? 3 powerhouse foods that'll have your legs singing hallelujah. We're talking leafy greens, think spinach, kale, and collard greens, that pack a 1-2 punch of calcium and vitamin D. Then there's fatty fish like salmon and sardines, swimming with muscle-rebuilding omega-3s. These aren't just random picks. Science backs them up, and I've seen them work wonders. My neighbor, Miss Clara, went from leaning on a cane to tending her roses again. All because she started eating smarter. And you can too. Think of your legs like the foundation of a house. Neglect them, and the whole thing wobbles. Feed them right, and they'll hold you up for years. So stick with me, because we're about to break this down step by step. You'll be amazed at how simple and delicious this fix can be. Ready to give your legs the love they deserve? Let's roll. Leafy greens, spinach, kale, collard greens. All right, let's kick things off with the MVPs of the veggie aisle, leafy greens. I'm talking about those gorgeous deep green powerhouses, spinach, kale, and collard greens. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Greens? Come on, I'm not a health nut. But trust me, these aren't just for yoga moms or rabbits hopping around the garden. These babies are your ticket to legs that feel 10 years younger. And they're loaded with goodies your body's been craving, calcium and vitamin D. Let's unpack why that matters and how you can make them a regular at your table. First up, calcium. You've probably heard it's good for your bones, and it is. As we age, our bones can get as fragile as a china teacup, especially for us seniors. Osteoporosis creeps in, making every step a gamble. But a cup of cooked spinach delivers over 25% of your daily calcium. Boom, just like that. You're building a fortress around those bones. Then there's vitamin D, the unsung hero. It's like the delivery guy who makes sure the calcium gets where it needs to go, straight to your muscles and bones. Without it, your legs are running on fumes. Kale and collard greens bring both to the party, and studies from the National Institutes of Health back it up. Seniors who load up on these nutrients have stronger muscles and fewer falls. That's not just data. That's freedom. Now, let's talk real life. My friend Linda, bless her heart, used to shuffle around her kitchen like she was 90, not 68. She groaned every time she bent to grab a pot, and her kids were starting to hover like she might topple over. I told her, "Linda, you gotta try some greens." She rolled her eyes until I brought over a spinach quiche. One bite, and she was hooked. She started tossing spinach into her eggs, blending kale into her soups, and even simmering collards with a little bacon for that southern flair. 3 months later, she's chasing her dog around the yard like a kid again. "I didn't know food could do this," she laughed. That's the magic of greens. They're quiet heroes. And here's the best part. They're so easy to sneak into your day. No need for complicated recipes or a blender that sounds like a jet engine. Toss a handful of spinach into your morning omelet. Bam! You're done. Saute kale with garlic and a drizzle of olive oil, and suddenly it's a side dish you'll fight over. Collard greens? Simmer them with a splash of broth and a pinch of salt. Cozy, comforting, and oh so good. I started doing this myself after a wobbly moment on my porch steps last year. Now, I swear my legs feel like they could run a 5K. Okay, maybe a brisk walk, but you get the idea. Plus, they're cheap. Grab a bunch at the grocery store for pocket change. So, next time you're shopping, don't breeze past the produce section. Pick up some leafy greens and picture this. You, strutting around with confidence, no cane in sight. They're not just food. They're your leg's new best friend. Up next, we've got a fish tale that'll reel you in. Don't go anywhere. Fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines. Let me take you down to Savannah, Georgia, where Betty Johnson lives in a little yellow house with a porch swing and a garden full of azaleas. At 68, Betty's the kind of woman who lights up a room, always the first to crack a joke at her church potlucks, her arms full of hugs and a pan of peach cobbler that'd make your mouth water. But a few years back, things shifted. Her legs started betraying her. She'd shuffle across the floor instead of striding, her knees creaking like an old rocking chair. One sunny afternoon, she was out tending her flowers, her pride and joy, when she tripped over a hose and landed face first in the dirt, petals flying everywhere. "I felt like I aged 20 years in a second," she told me later, brushing back her silver curls with a shaky laugh. Her doctor didn't sugarcoat it. Her muscles were shrinking, a classic case of aging, and her diet wasn't helping. Betty loved her biscuits and gravy, but fish, not so much. That is, until her son Tommy, a fisherman with a heart of gold, showed up with a cooler of fresh salmon one evening. "Mama, just try it," he begged, his sunburned face pleading. Betty sighed, fired up the grill, and tossed that salmon on with a squeeze of lemon and a sprinkle of herbs. The smell alone hooked her. She started eating fatty fish twice a week, salmon one night, sardines on crackers another. 6 months later, she was back in her garden, planting roses with steady hands and strong legs. Last summer, at her granddaughter's wedding, she twirled across the dance floor in a flowy blue dress, grinning ear to ear. "Fish didn't just save my legs, it saved my spirit," she said, her eyes sparkling. Betty's story isn't a fluke. It's proof that fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines are pure gold for seniors. They're bursting with omega-3 fatty acids that fight inflammation and rebuild muscle, plus that vitamin D we talked about for bone strength. The American Heart Association says 2 servings a week can boost muscle function and cut fall risks. Betty's living proof. She didn't need a fancy gym membership or a miracle cure. She just needed a plate and a little nudge. It's amazing how something so simple can rewrite your story. Small bites, big results. That's the lesson here. I can't get Betty's smile out of my head. It's why I'm so sold on this. I started eating salmon myself after a scare of my own. I was climbing the stairs to my attic, and halfway up, my legs just quit. I sat there, heart pounding, thinking, this isn't me. That night, I pan-seared a salmon fillet with butter and garlic, and it felt like a promise to myself. Now, it's a weekly ritual, and I swear I feel the difference. Stronger, steadier, more me. It's not just about the food, it's about holding on to the life I love, gardening, laughing with friends, keeping up with the grandkids. Seniors like us deserve that, don't we? Fatty fish isn't just dinner, it's a lifeline to joy. All right, joyful seniors, let's wrap this up. Today, we tackled a big warning. Your legs fade first as you age. But we've got the fix. 3 incredible foods to keep them strong and healthy. Leafy greens like spinach and kale bring calcium and vitamin D to the party, shoring up your bones and muscles so you can keep moving. Then there's fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, loaded with omega-3s to rebuild strength just like they did for Betty in her garden. These aren't trendy superfoods. They're simple, affordable staples that pack a punch. Add them to your plate, and you're not just eating. You're investing in your independence. Here's the thing. Getting older doesn't mean slowing down. Not if we don't let it. I know it's tempting to stick with the same old meals, but trust me, a little tweak can work wonders. Start small. Toss some spinach in your soup. Grill a salmon fillet for dinner. You don't have to be a chef. You just have to care about yourself, and you do, right? You're here watching this because you want to live your golden years with joy and strength. That's what the Joyful Senior is all about. Little steps to big happiness. So, here's your call to action. Try one of these foods this week. Maybe pick up some kale at the store tomorrow, or ask your kids to bring over a can of sardines. Then come back and tell me how it goes. I'd love to hear your stories in the comments. Oh, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next tip to keep you thriving. Share this video with a friend who needs a leg up, literally. Let's keep this joyful community growing. Until next time, stay strong, stay healthy, and keep shining, seniors.